afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have a very short program because we would like this to be an hour with the media. I understand there are several representatives from the media, but others are coming just because of the heavy traffic. Unfortunately, we can't wait for them. We'll have to start because we only have 60 minutes. And I understand many of you need to go back to QC area for the UAAP games. Okay, so at this point, may I also invite Toto de la Cruz of Bughaw Digital to please join us. Other than welcoming Meggie home, we would like to welcome also our guests, the parents of Meggie Ochoa, Mr. and Mrs. Ochoa. Thank you very much for joining us. So medyo inagawan namin ng papel na Mr. and Mrs. Ochoa. They were supposed to receive Meggie at the airport, but our team had to snatch Meggie so that she could come directly to Pacific Star. And more importantly, would like to welcome, of course, members of the local media. And I think some supporters and fans of Meggie Ochoa and the Fight to Protect movement are also with us this afternoon. So let's start, I guess, by introducing to the public who Meggie Ochoa, by allowing her to sort of share how her journey started. We all know that she didn't start as a jiu-jitsu athlete, right? And perhaps Meggie, you would like to share with us how it all started.
Well, before, I've always been into sports. Nag-football ako nung high school, then track and field nung college, then after college, nag-MMA. And then, so gusto ko ng MMA, pero hindi ako makalaban kasi maliit ako. Wala akong mga kalaban. So, sabi sa akin ng coach ko ng time na yun, ba't di mo try mag-jiu-jitsu? Kasi sigurado may mga makalaban ka dyan. So, yun. So, nag-try ako mag-jiu-jitsu, and that was 2013. I still had a full-time job back then. I used to work with an environmental non-profit. And then, nag-resign ako sa trabaho ko noong 2014 kasi masyado ko nagustuhan yung jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu. You mentioned you started with mixed martial arts, and then you shifted to jiu-jitsu. But what about this sport that actually drives you and, you know, keeps you focused?
Well, sa jiu-jitsu kasi, ang dami. Sobrang daming factors ng jiu-jitsu that will really keep you to stick to the sport. The fact na kahit maliit ka, pwede ka tumalo ng mga mas malaki sa'yo. Actually, kahit dun sa World Championship, medyo may size disadvantage ako kasi diba 45 kilos ako normally. Pero I had to fight sa 49. And also because you really never stop learning in jiu-jitsu. Si Coach Hansel yung parang first na official jiu-jitsu coach. Kasi before sa sub-sport, nung no-gi pa lang yung ginagawa ko, si Coach Hansel yung coach at that time. Bago pa ako mag-start with gi, yung gi yung parang suot na gano'n, yung no-gi yung walang gano'n. So naka-rash guard lang. And then nag-start ako doon sa classes ni Coach Hansel sa sub-sport. So that was, I think, 2012 pa lang, no? 2012. Before I started pa with the gi jiu-jitsu nung 2013.
I see. Coach, did you see na magiging world champion si Meggie when you were just starting to coach her?
Well, at that time, I wasn't even quite sure if magustuhan niya, magsistick siya sa jiu-jitsu. But after a few classes, definitely stand out because first, siya yung pinakamaliit sa class, so mapapansin kagad siya. But despite yung miniature size ni Meggie, siya yung agresibo. Pag nagpapagawa ako ng mga drills, ng mga techniques, siya yung mapapansin mo, yung iba kahit na ang laki, parang very soft when they do the technique, parang natatakot sila, baka mali yung galaw nila. But si Meggie, makita mo parang natural yung galaw niya. So, after a few classes and yung dedication, like every week, nakikita ko siya palagi dun sa class. So I knew, okay, if tinuloy nito yung jiu-jitsu, malayo yung mararating niya.
What's the minimum requirement for somebody to qualify as a jiu-jitsu athlete other than the willingness?
I guess that's the beauty of the sport. Meron tayong, I guess, yung mga stereotype, no? Sino ba yung sa class, sino ba yung marunong mag-basketball? I guess yun yung maintindihan natin kasi we love basketball so much. Like, I love basketball. Yung may mga iba, hindi coordinated, so medyo mas mahirapan sila mag-excel sa sport. But yung sinabi nga ni Meggie, yung okay sa jiu-jitsu, you can put in the hard work kahit wala kang natural skills and you can still excel. Yun yung kinaganda talaga ng sport. So it's for everyone.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Meggie, Jiu-Jitsu will be part of the Southeast Asia Games, right? The SEA Games, which will happen in the Philippines on November next year. Are you excited about competing and representing the flag in the SEA Games? And how about the Olympics? Is it already part of the upcoming 2020 Olympics in Tokyo?
Well, sa SEA Games, yes, it's part of the SEA Games already. And syempre, excited talaga kasi dito sa Pilipinas gaganapin yung SEA Games. And sa totoo lang, tagal ko nang di lumalaban sa Pilipinas. So, exciting yan kasi syempre, lupa mo yan, di ba? Sariling bayan mo, doon ka talaga mismo lalaban. And sa Olympics, wala pa so far, pero wino-work out na siya nung IF, nung JJIF, to really include jiu-jitsu in the Olympics. And that's the dream, of course. 2020, wala pa. 2024, I can't say right now, pero hopefully.
hopefully. That stands, greater chance for the Philippines to get more gold medals, I think, right? So would you recommend jiu-jitsu to more Filipino athletes, especially the younger ones who are just starting?
Definitely, absolutely. And I think jiu-jitsu, sobrang dami niyang benefits. Not just because kahit maliit ka, pwede ka mag-excel, or even any body type, pwede ka mag-excel. Pero also because even as a person, ang daming benefits ng jiu-jitsu. And ako personally, naranasan ko yun. As an individual, it has changed me so much. Perspective, like kung wari, yung humility, very important yun sa jiu-jitsu. Kasi kahit kala mo world champion ka na, ganyan-ganyan, matatalo at matatalo ka din eh. I think in any sport naman. Pero sa jiu-jitsu kasi medyo mas maraming chances kasi it's such a diverse sport. Ang daming pwedeng mangyari sa isang laban. So talagang kailangan you're humble enough to accept certain results and to be able to stand back up and get back up from your experiences. And then, I think also of course, for kids, talagang yung discipline din, very important na contribution ng isang sport, especially ng jiu-jitsu. And of course, very important is the self-defense aspect also. It actually becomes an instinct. Parang, kasi since ginagawa mo siya on the mats in like high pressure situations, especially if you compete, ako hindi ko pa nararanasan thankfully on the streets na kailangan ko siyang gamitin. Pero it will become an instinct kapag na-learn mo yung jiu-jitsu. So for a child, definitely it's very beneficial.
Okay. Take us back to Sweden and let's talk about your experience as a world champion. Perhaps you can share your story about how the competition went. Sino yung mga nakalaban mo and how did it go? What made you a champion?
Actually, sa totoo lang, sobrang hindi ko in-expect yung victory na to. Alam ni Coach Hansel na, okay, the entire year kasi I've really been putting so much pressure on myself because of Asian Games. From February to August, every month, I was in a different country competing. And then, yun nga, as in talagang todo bigay lahat. And then, medyo na burnout din, ganyan. Pero syempre, naka-recover naman. And then, for this particular World Championship, alam ni Coach Hansel to, sabi ko, Coach, I just wanna focus on number one is glorifying God talaga. That's my ultimate focus. And then, also, parang sabi ni God na i-remind niya ako kung bakit ko to ginagawa. Na parang just the joy of doing jiu-jitsu kasi that's what He created me for. Alam mo yun? Doon ko mafulfill yung purpose ko. And I was so excited to compete bago pa ako umalis sa, for the World Championships for Sweden. And grabe, sa airport pa lang, like, nag-a-appear na kami nung teammate ko, isa si Mark. Talagang gumagano na kami, parang airport pa lang, hindi pa kami nakakalipad, excited na ako. Anyway, so after nun, so when we got there, so yun na, yung day na ng competition, sobrang, I was so excited and parang hindi ko ma-contain yung feeling of excitement. And so of course, pumapasok yung nerves. Pero every time na pumapasok yung nerves, talagang, as in, nagdadasal talaga ako. Parang I pour my heart out to the Lord. And every time I do that, literally I feel His warmth, His presence. And every time talaga before each match, parang I was just so ready. Before each match, iba yung feeling ko na parang, shucks, ang saya. Parang, makikita mo siguro yung mga, kung may video siguro ng before each match, makikita nyo na talagang hyped up ako before each match. Tapos, yun, first match ko was against France. And malakas din yung kalaban, mas malaki siya sa akin. And then what happened was, I think na-sweep ko siya twice. Meaning, I pulled guard, humiga ako, tapos 2 beses ko siya nabaliktad. And then my second match was against, ito sobrang lakas niya, Poland. Malaki din siya. Tapos pinipressure talaga niya ako. Tapos medyo dito ako naubos sa second match. Yung grips ko. Kasi talagang mabigat siya sa akin. Tapos pinipressure niya ako ng matindi. And then, as in, parang I think it was already towards the end na, uy, may nakita ang opportunity, tapos tsaka ako siya binaliktad. And then, nung nabaliktad ko siya, sagot, di ko na ito bibigay kasi sobrang, as in, literally, yung match na yun, nung nabaliktad ko siya, tapos kinikip ko na lang yung position, nasusuka na ako. As in, gumagana na ako during the match. Tinitignan na ako ng kalaro ko, susukahan ba ako nito? Anyway, so after ng match na yun, buti naman talaga kasama namin yung PT, si Juan from PSC, na pina-recover talaga ako ng maayos. So, nung third match ko, ito yung grabe yung nangyari sa match na to. Against France again, a different person. So, di ba, nag-start kami ng laban, ganyan. And then, medyo pagod nga ako from the previous match. Pero naka-recover naman. Then, ina-attempt ko siyang baliktarin, hindi ko siya mabaliktad. Tapos, bigla na lang, I came to a position na, oh my gosh, may ginawa ko na never ko pa ginawa before. Na-knee bar ko siya. Meaning, na-submit ko siya, yung i-extend mo yung tuhod. Na parang, what? Paano ko yung nagawa? Hindi ko siya, coach, ginagawa ko ba yun? Hindi, diba? Hindi ko yung game. Bigla na lang siya lumabas. And I think it's really God's hand at work na parang, wow, bigla na lang lumabas. Tapos, sumigaw pa siya kasi parang mabilis ko ata nagawa. So parang, tapos ako, sorry. Anyway, so yung third match ko against France. As in, nagulat ako na, wow, bigla na lang. Anyway, so yung last match, meron kaming like, kasi 4 matches to gold, merong mga 7 more hours before the next match. So, malaki yung time to rest. And I stayed behind kasi I wanted to watch some of my teammates. Pero, after a while, sobrang napagod na ako, so I had to refresh and go back to the hotel. Sinamahan ako ni April. And then after that, I went back. And then, yun na, finals match. And yung finals match ko was against Canada. And itong girl na to, I knew it was gonna be a difficult match. Kasi yung girl na to, siya yung current na IBJJF World Champion sa division namin. So, ito JJIF, di ba? IBJJF is the one that happens every end of May to June. So, siya yung current world champion sa purple belt division ko. And so, I knew it was gonna be a tough match kasi tinalo niya yung tumalo sa akin sa IBJJF eh. So, alam ko, nako, matinding labanan to. So, yun. So, yung finals match with Canada, nag-start na yung match and naunahan ko siya mag-pull. So, naunahan ako sa ilalim. Kasi, same kami ng strength eh. Parehas kami, gusto namin kami yung nasa ilalim muna. So, naunahan ko siya doon, which was a good thing. And so, yun, tinatry niya ako talagang binabato-bato niya yung legs ko, ganyan. Pero, syempre, ayoko bumigay, diba? So, naharap ko rin yung right moment na baliktad ko. Tapos, siya na yung nag-end up sa ilalim. And then, nagpa-pass attempt ako, meaning tinatry ko naman siyang i-control at tanggalin yung control niya sa akin habang ako yung nasa ibabaw, siya yung nasa ilalim. Tapos, nagkaroon ako ng advantage for that. And then, after nun, parang may moment pa muntika na niya akong ma-sweep or mabaliktad, pero na-defend ko. Tapos, yun, nag-end up na ako sa guard and then naubos na yung oras doon. Tapos yun, nanalo ako 2 points, 1 advantage. Yun.
Coach, were you able to watch the competition?
Yeah, I was actually here. Di ako nakasama sa kanila kasi just had my baby. But I was watching the matches for 2 days yun sa gabi with my wife sa computer namin.
While it was ongoing, did you
Yes.
think that she'll be the world champion?
Nakita ko after first match pa lang eh because she was able to play her game. She looked very relaxed. So I knew yung mindset niya coming into the matches maganda. And it's very important sa jiu-jitsu na you feel and you think that you're gonna win before you actually go into the mats eh. Yeah, big factor yun.
Maybe you mentioned some letters there, the JJIF and then the, so perhaps you can clarify what exactly are those two?
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two?
Yeah.
And you're the champion of which one?
Okay, so IBJJF is International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation. So Brazilians yung nagpapatakbo nun. And dito sa IBJJF competitions, ang nire-represent dito is yung clubs. So ako am part of Team Atos. And then a national team is composed of individuals from different clubs. So yung national team natin, lumalaban siya as national team sa mga JJIF competitions. So, ang JJIF, ang nire-represent dito is yung bansa mo talaga. So, ito yung registered NSAs, yung lumalaban sa JJIF. IBJJF, it's the registered clubs. And the World Championships of IBJJF happens every end of May to June every year in Long Beach, California. Yung World Championships ng JJIF goes around the world. And so I'm actually not the first world champion sa IBJJF. Nanalo din ako doon ng 3 beses, pero pangatlo na ako. The first one was May Masuda. The second one was Eros Baluyot. So may mga nanalo na before me sa IBJJF. So I'm actually not the first Jiu-Jitsu world champion na Filipina. Pero I'm the first sa JJIF World Championship na manalo. And it's also the first time that the Philippines actually joined the JJIF World Championship.
In other words, you're the first Filipina to win the Jiu-Jitsu World Championship representing your country.
Representing the country, yes. So,
I guess that's an important
JJIF World
clarification.
Championship yun.
Right.
Not IBJJF.
Yes.
To be clear lang.
And I guess that's very clear, and everyone is very proud of you because you represented the flag. And we're happy to know that meron pang mga ibang jiu-jitsu champions
Yes.
that can actually be part of the league and represent the country moving forward, right? At this point, I guess a while ago, si Mami Lee, your mom, showed me a photo which she was supposed to wave pagdating mo sa airport but she wasn't able to do. Mami Lee, would you like to share to the members of the media what exactly this photo is all about and why is it important? So maybe you can explain yung reaction mo dun sa isang photo and why is it very, very...
Yung photo dun sa kaliwa, yun kasi yung photo after kong mag-knee bar. So nagulat talaga ako, kaya nakaganon ako, ano nangyari? As in, even until the match was over, ako sa ano nangyari? Paano ko nagawa yun? Literal talaga in disbelief. Kaya yun sa kaliwa. Yun. Tapos yung sa right, yun yung with Sir Ferdy Agustin or SecGen for JJFP and the Fight to Protect na poster.
Right. Awesome. Thank you, Mami Lee. And I think palakpakan natin si Mr. and Mrs. Ochoa. So I'm sure si Dad saka si Mami nung nagko-compete si Meggie hindi mapakali, no? We have a different time zone, so talagang kailangang abangan. So Meggie, now that you're a world champion, how does that empower you to continue with your advocacy? In fact, it's now become a movement, the Fight to Protect movement.
Ay, grabe. Kasi hindi ko pa na-absorb. Hindi ko pa na-absorb lahat ng nangyari. Pero, of course, I think the fact na andito yung media right now na they're actually interested enough to listen to me. And I think na just winning a world title in the JJIF, officially representing your country, of course, it's a huge deal, I guess. Is it a huge deal? It's a huge deal. And so I think na definitely it will be a big push for the movement, and syempre mas lalawak yung reach, and then hopefully more people would be aware of what's happening in our country in terms of what our children are actually going through. But even beyond that also, sana lumaki din yung awareness sa jiu-jitsu as a sport kasi it goes hand in hand. Na actually sa next year meron kaming plans of developing advocates through jiu-jitsu. Meaning, hindi lang namin gustong mag-spread ng awareness on jiu-jitsu, but we actually want to develop the youth to become advocates for Fight to Protect and to help spread awareness. Kasi ngayon ako lang yung talagang nag-go around nagsasalita eh. So we want to use the sport and the advocacy to really, move forward. And hopefully this particular victory will even increase the interest of the youth in Fight to Protect and in jiu-jitsu and in actually doing something about it.
Thank you, Meggie. So in fact, we've received some invitation from different cities and organizations for Meggie to visit and actually share what Fight to Protect is all about. And I think the other important thing is that we have Bughaw Digital and Beebeelee supporting Meggie to amplify what she's trying to do, especially in the digital platform. So Toto, would you like to share what exactly you're trying to do to help Meggie?
We are Bughaw Digital. Bughaw Digital is a digital marketing company. As mentioned by Meggie earlier, one of the reasons why we have problems in today's society is primarily because of digital technology. As she was saying that there is actually the downside of the technology. But what we do in Bughaw Digital, that's why it's Bughaw, because it's blue. Blue is hope. what we would like to do is to use digital technology for a positive way in terms of transforming our communities, in terms of solidifying our sectors to become better citizens. And we would like to use digital technology in terms of, one, promoting Filipino athletes. Just like Meggie, one of the things that I think Meggie can share to young people is that it is not a big hurdle to become an individual athlete. That means you can do with proper support and then with proper exposure and so on. So what we're going to do is that Meggie will become our storyteller. No? The society now is actually looking for stories that will allow people to reflect, stories that will actually inspire them to become better persons. And I think what is important here with Meggie is that she was saying, I'm not just an athlete. I can just be rest on my gold. No? But I feel that beyond being an athlete, I have something to do. She's advocating for the protection of children. She is advocating for women and so on. So this story is very important. No? This is very important for our young people of today, especially the millennials, who are also looking for role models. And that's the reason why we in Bughaw Digital will be partnering with Meggie to share these stories, not only here, but because of the power of social media, the power of digital technology, it will be boundless. It can be actually inspire not only Filipinos, but also other girls and women around the world.
I guess this is the time that allows us to open the floor for your conversation with the members of the media. She was telling me that she didn't have time to respond to many of your messages sa kanya sa Facebook and so on and so forth. Obviously because she was overwhelmed, busy and all that. And I guess this is the first opportunity for her to respond to your questions. So feel free to, if I may encourage you to introduce yourselves, which network you represent, and your question.
I don't know if you remember, Maggie. I think 3 years ago, we were talking about this, yung Fight to Protect, during my radio program. No? Looking at that start, that route of those 3 years, no? And looking at now, talk about the growth of Fight to Protect and, of course, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in general here in the Philippines.
So, sige, umpisa ako sa Fight to Protect. So, anyway, I always say this in my interviews, pero 2015 kasi nag-start yung personal burden ko for this particular issue from that article that I read on CNN about this girl that was raped 43,200 times. And that girl's from Mexico, and she was raped 43,200 times from the age of 12 to 16. And after reading that, grabe. Hindi ko siya matanggap na nangyayari yun sa mga bata sa mundo natin. And so, I researched and found out that in the Philippines, the statistics are horrible. And yun nga, I think na-mention na naman dun sa video kanina kung gaano kalala siya sa Philippines. And then, ang daming nangyari. From then, after ko mabasa yung article na yun, little by little, bigla na lang na-meet ko yung isang family that actually wanted to advocate for the same thing. And then, after I met the family, somebody gave me the book Purpose Driven Life. And then, after somebody gave me the book Purpose Driven Life, that family shared Christ with me, and then I surrendered my life to Jesus. And I knew that this is why God created me, that He actually allowed for those previous world titles to happen in the past to be able to do something about this issue. And so, nag-umpisa yun na doing something about it. Nag-umpisa siya sa Safe Haven. So, nag-volunteer ako sa Philippines Without Orphans. Then, 2016, we started the program with the Safe Haven kids na tinuruan namin silang mag-jiu-jitsu. Yung Safe Haven kasi is actually a home for abandoned, neglected, and abused kids. So, some of the kids are actually survivors of this particular issue. And that was 2016. And then 2017, they started to compete even way before than we actually planned for or expected. And then, yun nga yung nakakataba talaga ng puso nung tinanong namin sila dun sa goal setting session namin. Ano yung dreams nyo sa Jiu-Jitsu? Ano yung goals nyo sa Jiu-Jitsu? And then yung sinabi ng Safe Haven Kids. Yung dream nila is actually to teach other kids Jiu-Jitsu. Yung mga ibang nakaranas ng katulad nila. So, di ba parang grabe yun na parang sila na nga yung nakaranas ng trauma, sila pa yung nakakaisip sa iba. So, tinatry na namin silang turuan kung paano magturo ng jiu-jitsu sa iba. Pero of course, very basic pa lang. So that's 2017. And then I knew na, okay, it's one thing to help survivors, but if you really want to put an end to this issue, you really have to do more. So I actually talked about this in a recent presentation na you look at how you affect individuals, and then when you affect the individual looks further, so you look at how you affect the community. Pero even beyond the community, you look at how you affect society as a whole. And I think na if you want to put an end to this issue, one starting point, I'm not saying it's the ultimate solution, but the starting point is raising awareness. And God gave me this platform of jiu-jitsu. I mean, now you're all here, and I have these opportunities to talk. And God gave me this platform, and I knew that I had to use it to raise awareness on an issue. And it can't stop here. It can't stop on awareness. So 2017, the idea came about, and I started sharing the idea with several people. And then the develop, it was actually just supposed to be one event. Fight to Protect was just supposed to be a sports event, and then meron ding mga awareness speakers. It was just supposed to happen one time. Pero when I started proposing the idea to different partners, parang people were so interested, they rode on, and dumami yung partners. And then 2018, I knew na it couldn't just be one event. So 2018, Fight to Protect actually grew into a movement. We started holding events with one-of-a-kind marketing last April. Then we had another event last August, before Asian Games. Then we officially launched Fight to Protect. Parang teaser events yung before. We officially launched Fight to Protect last October 20, as you can see in the video. And then now there are, wow, so many things planned, so many activities planned. And you know, kakagaling ko lang ng Sweden, diba? And when I was there in Sweden, even the International Federation, Jiu-Jitsu International Federation, really want to support Fight to Protect. And sa Asian Games pa lang, they said that. And in Sweden, I was given an opportunity to actually talk about Fight to Protect in front of the officials of the different countries in the Congress. So it's a huge opportunity. Like after that, the different representatives, officials from the countries actually approached me and said that, hey, this issue is also bad in our country, or hey, we're doing these best practices. So now it's like already reaching a global stage even before I expected it or planned for it, and I'm really overwhelmed. So that's what's been happening so far.
And Jordan Clarkson himself made an effort to meet Meggie because he was really impressed with what, you know, a girl like her, you're what, you're 28, sabi niya nga, a little girl with a gigantic impact. That's how she saw Meggie. And I think a lot of Filipinos should understand what Fight to Protect is all about, because more than the sport, I guess Fight to Protect is something that will really have an impact on the society. So other questions, please?
I'm currently doing some writing, and so yung Fight to Protect, first of all, I want to say na I'm going to spread awareness, and there's also friends na rin, a few friends who are doing similar advocacy as you. So I guess that's it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions?
That's definitely the dream na mangyari ngayon. So, it's called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu kasi it's actually a style of Jiu-Jitsu. So, maraming kinds of Jiu-Jitsu. May Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, may Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Meron ng, yung dun sa JJIF kasi meron pang Jiu-Jitsu, JUJITSU, may fighting, may duo, may mga iba't ibang aspects yung Jiu-Jitsu. And yung particular aspect na to ng Jiu-Jitsu is called Newaza, actually yung ground fighting. And then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a specific style na siya yung na-popularize ng mga Gracies because of the UFC. And definitely, ang laki talaga ng potential na mag-grow to dito sa bansa natin. And hopefully talaga na this particular victory may contribute something to that, and also all the other victories of all the other Filipinos in the past and in the future. Kasi yun nga sabi ko kanina, it's technique over strength and power. Alam natin na may size disadvantage tayo, and well, majority of us have a size disadvantage compared to other countries, and pwede natin gamitin yung talino natin, yung puso natin, kung paano tayo lumaban para mag-excel sa sport na to. Kasi alam ko na talagang kakayanin ng mga Pilipino pagka masubukan lang nila. And yun nga, parang sa fight to protect lang, it starts with awareness eh. Kasi maraming mga Pilipino, pagka nakita nila ako uy, nagkakarate ka, or parang, uy, di ba ikaw yung nagkakarate, or di ba ikaw yung nagtataekwondo? Wala pang awareness eh. Parang hindi pa siya ganun. Pero I'm sure na once na, yun nga, malaman nila kung ano talaga yung jiu-jitsu, maintindihan nila kung gaano kaganda yung sport na to. Grabe, as in, ang laki ng potential. And ako personally din, ang dream ko is talaga to work on grassroots. Talaga yung mga lugar na napakahirap abutin. Share ko lang din, one time I had an opportunity to talk to youth from ARMM through the Lakas Kabataan program ng International Organization of Migration and ng OPAP. Office for Peace Process, Office of the President for Peace Process, something like that. Presidential Advisor in Peace Process, yung OPAP. So may program sila tawag Pamana, and then they invited me to talk about how sports builds resilience. And then nung nakausap ko yung mga youth ng ARMM, grabe, like sobrang interesado sila sa jiu-jitsu kasi pinakita ko ano yung jiu-jitsu, ganyan. So, ng potential, parang I think if labas yung awareness na yon, and then syempre the proper resources are set out, then makonect yung right people to actually give access to people from around the Philippines to learn about the sport, then definitely there's huge potential na talagang ang daming, hindi lang, as in sobrang daming medals nating mabibigay sa bansa.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Good afternoon, Maggie. Kasi we recently came out with a list of the 56 will come sa SEA Games. Now, Jiu-Jitsu is in category 3. But still, is there added pressure on your part? Kasi maraming nagtatanong bakit wala itong sport. But Jiu-Jitsu is part of it. And kumbaga when we say Jiu-Jitsu, Meggie Ochoa, your first that comes to mind. Is there added pressure here?
Hello? Like I said a while ago, I actually don't want to think of pressure. Parang for me, competing for the Philippines, competing in the SEA Games in your home country, it's not pressure, but it's an honor and a privilege. For me, I don't view it as, okay, people expect this of me, but sa akin, I'm grateful. Parang I don't look at the pressure, I look at the opportunity. I'm really, really grateful to have an opportunity to represent my country in the sport that I love.
Thank you, Meggie. So there's this one question sent by one of our media partners. What kind of support would you like to see your country give you, especially for athletes in martial arts or jiu-jitsu? How can the country support you better and other athletes in the future? Perhaps the question would also go to Coach, aside from Meggie.
Actually, I'd just like to expound on what Meggie was saying a while ago in terms of how to grow the sport of jiu-jitsu here in the Philippines. Yung jiu-jitsu kasi prior to us being able to go overseas and compete for the country, yung JJIF, everyone was joining that, club-based. To be able to learn jiu-jitsu, you have to go to a club. Medyo mahal yung fee. Bumili ng gi, medyo mahal. So, actually, mga naka-jiu-jitsu dati, you need to have income, you need to have support from people to be able to do it, just to buy the uniform. But with the push and now the new format na bansa na yung pwede mong i-represent, now we have heroes. Now kids will have someone to look up to. Oh, when I grow up, I want to represent the country. I want to be like this person. So yun ang important eh. You have a role model. Now people can look up to someone. Now the government can step in. Kasi dati club, very private, right? Very privatized lang lahat yan. So yung mga nag-aral lang ng jiu-jitsu dati sa ibang bansa, sila lang yung nakakaturo. Obviously, they want to reap back from yung investment nila from learning. So they treat it as a business. Wala nun mali doon. Tama lang rin. But ngayon, because it's a national sport na, so pwede natin i-represent yung country natin sa SEA Games, Asian Games. Like the PSC has been supporting us. Like we'd like to thank PSC actually for bringing the athletes to Sweden. So sila yung nag-fund ng trip na ito. And for the other trips that we did this year too, sila rin yung nag-fund, sila yung namahala ng mga expenses namin para makapag-compete kami. And it will just build on that kasi obviously it's a new sport, so in terms of gaining the support of the government, we have to prove na we can win. Then they'll support. So with the achievements ng mga athletes natin, we were able to show na we can compete in Southeast Asia, in Asia, and this time sa Worlds. So what we're hoping to get is definitely that the PSC at least continues their support sa ginagawa namin. We'll be holding competitions also to attract more people to join the federation, to know more about the sport. We'll also be working together with the different clubs too, and with mga advocacies like Meggie, like the national athletes help out sa mga event ni Meggie. So we'd like to find yung mga opportunities na ganito to build awareness about the sport, and then dun kami hihingi din ng tulong from the mga private companies also. Because at the moment, obviously there are policies we have to follow when it comes to PSC. You need to have, won medals like that. But yung grassroots, yun ang kailangan namin ng suporta. Mas mabilis yung suporta kung may suporta ng private companies because we know limited resources ang government. Siyempre, madaming sports lahat. Uy, tulungan nyo kami. But yung private, madaming pera dyan. Kanya-kanyang hilig ng sports. So matulungan kami ng private, tapos yung PSC, matulungan kami once na yung mga athlete na nanalo na ng medalya, then lalaki yung sport ng jiu-jitsu, for sure.
Thank you, Coach. Meggie?
Sa akin, simple lang, it's really investing in potential rather than just result. So, siguro kasi may higher risk to invest in potential eh. And I would say this both for private and public sector na kasi yun nga, kaya importante yung grassroots eh. Kasi diyan ka maghahanap ng potential eh. Kasi ako, may 28 na ako. I mean, in a few years, sana naman umabot pa ng mas mahaba. Pero alam yun, in a few years, kailangan may mga susunod sa yapak. And kailangan ngayon palang iniisip na natin yun, yung potential of athletes producing even more medals, even before it happens, so that meron talagang comprehensive plan. Siguro kahit 4-year plan or 8-year plan or whatever, basta long-term plan na comprehensive, mako-cover lahat ng aspects, yung well-being ng athletes sa health, of course, financial, even sustainability ng pagiging atleta niya, paano siya mag-excel na hindi na niya kailangan problemahin yung kuwari kung magkakaroon siya ng pamilya, hindi na niya kailangan problemahin yun. And then, of course, syempre, to have the opportunities to hold quality training camps, both here and abroad, to be able to be exposed to international competitions. And like what Coach Hansel said, all of these require resources, and I think it's gonna be a public-private partnership talaga na mag-work together para nga maangat yung mga atleta, hindi lang yung mga magagaling pa, pero yung mga may potential maging magagaling, and lalo na yung mga nasa pinakamalayong bahagi ng Pilipinas.
Thank you, Meggie.
But I guess what I'd like to say is, with this movement, to make something that we do more meaningful, we have to do things with a purpose. So I guess in that context, she becomes the face of jiu-jitsu because now it's not just about winning medals, it's not just about excelling in sports, but using this as way and means to promote what Meggie's fighting for. So I guess we want something bigger than just winning. Kasi nakakapagod pag yun lang palagi mo iniisip na manalo ka lang. Mapagod ka doon, maaga ka magre-retire. But when you're fighting for something like this, na hindi natatapos yung laban hanggang walang kid na hindi naabuso, you're always motivated. Gusto mo palaging manalo. Not for yourself, but gusto mo manalo for all these kids that you're praying na ma-save.
In fact, just to add to that, that's how we saw Meggie. More than being the face of jiu-jitsu in the Philippines, we saw Meggie as the face of Fight to Protect, the advocacy that really needs response, cooperation, and help, not just from the private sector, private companies like us, but practically from ordinary people. So I was sharing with her kung bakit ako, kumbaga, at first instance, when she shared with us yung ginagawa niya, Sabi ko na-inspire ako because at one point we were helping in a community in Parañaque. And habang naglalakad ako papasok dun sa Eskinita, may tumilapon na bata, tinadyakan ng isang mama, kapatid, whatever. And sa kanila parang okay lang. So I guess in many ways, if you go to some areas, yung pananakit, pang-abuso, and pang-take advantage sa mga kabataan is like a way of life. And somebody like Meggie can actually be the face, the voice, and a catalyst for us Filipinos na magising and to do something about this problem. Other questions, please?
Of course, martial artists, no? Some of us are doing martial arts here, and coach, no? Martial arts is a very beautiful discipline. We all love martial arts once we try it. But of course, in the perception of others, martial arts has a violent nature, and we are promoting fight to protect. And how do we address that misconception of martial arts in this program? Now, this is to promote discipline, honor, and respect to other people instead of the violent nature.
Actually, kaya gustong-gusto ko yung pangalan na Fight to Protect eh. Kasi it actually, the title itself pa lang of the movement shows you that it's not fight without a purpose. It's fight with a purpose, which is to protect. It's not fight for the sake of fighting. It's not fight to show that you're siga or na malakas ka. It's fight to protect. So even the title itself speaks for itself. But you know, in terms of jiu-jitsu, well, ako, jiu-jitsu kasi that's the martial art that I know. Jiu-jitsu is actually known as the gentle art. Kasi parang you use the least amount of force possible and the most efficient technique possible to execute something. And even within a martial art like jiu-jitsu, kahit sa jiu-jitsu parang ayaw namin yung mga nananakit eh. Alam mo yun? When we teach jiu-jitsu, we always say that you use this within the mat setting, and even within the mat setting, you set rules, you set boundaries na, okay, so, kuwari magsasparring kayo and kuwari meron kang someone na lower belt than you, alam mo na hindi siya kasing lakas mo. So, syempre, mag-iingat ka and you will spar with that person in a way na makakatulong sa kanya. So, within martial arts kasi, that's just the external external perspective of a person, but any person that actually delves into a martial arts will see that each martial art has like core values into it, and knowing those core values will make you learn na it's not about fighting in a violent sense, but the word fight, kaya rin yan yung ginawa ko sa Fight to Protect kasi this particular issue, which is child sexual violence, it's really a fight. We can't just say technique to protect. This particular issue, everybody has to band together. Everyone has to contribute what they can to be able to address this issue kasi sobrang lala niya eh. Talagang kailangan mo talaga ipaglaban yung mga bata eh. And yung aspect naman yun ng martial arts or ng competition, yun yung gusto kong dalhin dun sa movement. Kaya siya Fight to Protect. Kasi kailangan talagang magsama-sama yung mga tao. Just how we support athletes, how athletes can inspire people. I want that same kind of motivation and mindset in terms of protecting our children. And that's why the title is Fight to Protect.
Nakita niyo na yung success ni Meggie on the mats, and beyond that, gaano po kayo ka-proud na hindi lang po yun ang ginagawa niya, kundi po yung Fight to Protect, yung vision niya towards helping others. Gaano po kayo ka-proud, mommy, daddy, bilang parents?
Sino ba naman ang hindi magiging proud? Di ba? Tsaka more so that we're part kasi of Catholic charismatic communities, and at least nakita namin na yung values that we've instilled in our daughter lumabas dyan sa kanyang advocacy. So, it's beyond her winnings. At least nakita namin na we did well by teaching her the right values.
Of course, we're very proud of her because one of the things that we taught our children is to be selfless and to find their purpose. And actually, we have 5. And each of them, they have their own characters, and all of them, they seem to have really found their purpose and they're selfless, which we've always taught them. And Meggie, I hope, becomes an example for the other youth who seem to be having problems in finding their purpose. So we're so proud of Meggie that she's a a good example for the youth who are looking for their purpose.
What would you say yung biggest challenge? Kasi, di ba, as we all know, jiu-jitsu is very niche. Tapos, you're trying to push this agenda, the movement, and then we know how crazy the country about how crazy this country is towards basketball. So, how are you? What do you think? Siguro on top of your mind would be the biggest challenge on pushing that message.
Actually, if you look at, hindi ko kasi ginawa yung presentation, pero whenever I present Fight to Protect, ang mission actually ng Fight to Protect is to build awareness on child sexual violence through sports. So, I started with jiu-jitsu, and ginamit yung jiu-jitsu kasi that's the sport I'm in. And, syempre, it's the easiest way. I'm not a basketball player, so I can't use basketball as a platform. Pero, I'm using jiu-jitsu as a pioneering sport. But for me, it's not really, I don't really look at it. It is challenging, of course, kasi hindi pa aware yung mga tao. Pero, I'm very open to partnership with other sports as well. Like, for example, before I left for Sweden, I had the opportunity to present to the employees of MPTC South, and then the NLEX Road Warriors were there also. So, like, nakapagpa-picture, and then kahit sila, narinig nila yung presentation. Even Coach Yang Giao was there. Nag-present din siya, and then narinig din niya yung presentation ko. So, hindi ko siya nililimit sa just jiu-jitsu. Well, of course, it's the best tool for me to use now is jiu-jitsu, but eventually, when this movement grows, hopefully, it can spread to other sports. In terms of challenges, of course, it's right now a challenge is the awareness of people on jiu-jitsu, but I see this as an opportunity to actually also promote the sport. At the same time, of course, syempre, ang core is promoting the movement, spreading awareness on child sexual violence, but in the same way, it's also an opportunity to educate the public about jiu-jitsu.
Speaking of partnerships, are you looking forward with, are you even considering going, di ba parang kanina part of the plans nasa pipeline, going places. Right now sa mixed martial arts, di ba, Team Lakay has 4 and 5 champion including Brandon Vera. Are you looking to parang partnering with them, tapos siguro go to Baguio and then parang have a collaboration with them, tapos spread the message?
Actually, ngayon ko lang narinig yung idea eh. So, pero I'd definitely be open to exploring that. And I think it's just a matter of planning when. Kasi syempre, shucks talaga full-time athlete ako eh. I mean, it's a matter of doing when and at what time. Yung proper timing for things.
So Meggie, I understand tomorrow you have to leave again. You're going to where and
To Singapore. I'm
Singapore.
going to a conference, Christian conference naman
Okay,
siya.
and then you'll be back when?
December 4.
Okay, so from then on, we can continue with the community and
Yeah,
other
yeah.
engagements moving forward. Please join me in thanking Meggie Ochoa and Coach Hansel Ko, and of course, Mr. and Mrs. Ochoa, for bringing us more pride and honor. And I hope she will continue not just to do that, but to inspire us so that we can help more children to fight through Fight to Protect. Marami pong salamat and good afternoon to everyone.